Would you rather own 3 short-term rentals, or Airbnbs as you might know them, manage them yourself, and pay them all off eventually? Or would you rather own 5 Airbnbs with mortgages attached and build a co-hosting business on the side at the same time? Both of these are real strategies which investors are running the numbers for right now. And they sound pretty similar on paper until you really look at the numbers. Because when you do, the gap between them is not even close. And the winner is probably not the one you were even expecting. Let's get into how you should build your Airbnb investing journey today and see what fits your goals. Hey everyone, my name is Garrett Brown. I'm the resident BiggerPockets short-term rental expert and a short-term rental investor myself that has a portfolio of 20 plus units that gross revenue over 1.5 million every single year. And today I'm doing something that I haven't specifically done on this channel before, a full financial model with real numbers to help you decide which path you want to take in Airbnb investing for where you'll end up in 20 years from now with that same style of portfolio. Do you want a small and mighty portfolio that is completely paid off? Or do you want a massive portfolio leveraging debt and the ability of co-hosting to keep your cash flow even higher? Neither one of these are bad choices. People have been very successful in both, but by the end of this video, you'll have an understanding what might fit your goals and which one might be the right one for you to tackle today. Strategy 1, you own 3 short-term rentals. You self-manage them, no need for a property manager with only 3. And you throw every dollar of cash flow back into the mortgage to pay it down as quickly as possible for each. Strategy 2, you own 5 short-term rentals. But instead of paying down the mortgages every single month with the cash flow, you take that cash flow, reinvest them back into the properties, or help build out your co-hosting business and make sure that you're growing over there, which is almost just pure cash flow when you're doing it. But it is a business that you're growing. So here's the starting point. Before the math, let's set up the baseline. For both strategies, we're working with high-performing short-term rentals, not median houses that barely break even or make $15,000 to $20,000 a year, which don't really help anybody. We're talking properties that are generating at least $70,000 in gross revenue every single year. We obviously want more, but this is just a round good number that if you're buying on a $500,000 purchase price is pretty solid for what you're looking on a return investment. I always look for at least 20% of the purchase price to be made in revenue, so it would be about $100,000 per unit. But with times now and other things that go on in people's life, let's just keep it a little more simple and start with $70K. And if you get more, even better. So we have a purchase price of $500,000. Let's say you have a down payment of 25% that you have to put down with a DSCR style loan. That comes out to about $125,000 out of pocket. Your loan is about $375,000 at a 7.5% interest rate is what we'll use for this example, and it's a 30-year fixed mortgage. Your mortgage payment for each month is going to be about $2,622. Now, here's where the two strategies immediately diverge. And this is not even talking about the number of properties that you own. In strategy 1, you are self-managing. No property management company. You handle all the guest communication, the pricing, the cleaner coordination, all the things that are really not that hard with software and automations that are out there nowadays. Get a really good cleaner, pay them well, they're going to definitely make it up for you. You're doing a lot of the work, but you're also keeping that 20 to 25% fee that a management company will charge, and they're not even going to care about your property as much as it is, and it's really not that hard to host as it used to be. I guarantee it. This comes out to about a 30% expense ratio, give or take a few things here and there, but you have platform fees, you have cleaning, supplies, insurance, utilities, a few other things that go inside of these automatic expenses you're going to have pretty much each month. And your net operating income per property will be around $49,000 for that year. After the mortgage is taken out, you're netting around $17,000 per property per year. That's about $1,461 a month per door. In strategy 2, you're essentially building your own management company. You still will manage your own rentals, but you'll be co-hosting some others. And so you're going to need to add more staff, probably have a little more software, probably have a few virtual assistants and a few other tools that help you on the co-hosting side, spend a little more time on marketing, all these things that you necessarily wouldn't do if you were not worried about finding more owners. You're probably going to run closer to about a 50% expense ratio when you're having your own management company inside of it, everything that goes into it. At that number, your net operating income drops to about $34,000 a year on each property. And after the mortgage and everything else, you're only probably clearing around $200 per door per month. These are on the ones that you have the mortgages for, though. Let's keep that in mind. Now, that's a pretty big difference each month. You're probably making about $1,200 more cash flow with, less help managing only 3 properties properties. But if you have a lot more properties, you'll have more help. You'll be able to build out teams, operations, systems that can actually scale as well if this is what you want to do and build an actual business. But when you are first starting, those extra operating expenses are going to bring your ratio down that you're actually clearing each month. But the upside is a lot higher, especially if you have the desire to truly grow that co-hosting side. So let's look at scenario one. In this one, you buy the 3 short-term rentals, 1 per year, staggered over 3 or 4 years. And once all 3 of them are running, you stop buying any properties. Your one job from that point forward is to run them as well as possible to drive as much revenue as possible, but also take every bit of dollar that you make to put it back into paying down that mortgage so you can get rid of it as quickly as possible. 3 properties, $375,000 in equity for each single one. So you're about $1.125 million in complete debt right now. Combined cash flow after every expense is about $4,300 a month from all 3 properties. And you also decide to keep working your W-2 job and take around $1,500 a month to throw at the mortgages as well to keep paying them down, along with the cash flow you're making from the properties. Combined, you have about $6,000 going down to these mortgages to pay them off extra quickly as possible. So then you start to snowball it. Pay off that first one, focus on that one. Then you go to the second one, pay off as much as you can, get it down, and then you go to the third one. So how long would that exactly take to pay all those down if you're doing it at this rate? You're going to be about year 12 to year 14, depending on a few of your expense things, insurance side, taxes. Those things will kind of probably change on you. So I would believe that by year 13, most of these places are going to be paid off. And at that point, your monthly income doesn't just go up a little bit, it goes up entirely, because now around $49,000 per property or close to $150,000 per year is going to be yours. All of it. No mortgage payment eating into your NOI, just pure cash flow. That's around $12,000 per month. If you can't replace your income with $150,000 a year, then we need to probably be having a different conversation on the route and depending what your goals are there. But that's a pretty solid chunk of change to just own 3 rentals and manage them by themselves. Buying in very highly profitable vacation rental markets will make this for sure be a lifelong thing that you can enjoy, because people are not going to stop vacationing to known destinations that have been there forever as tourist attractions. And this is the type of thing you need to be thinking about if you're not looking to build up a massive co-hosting business and just want a few rentals that you can kind of manage, enjoy on your own time, but then also have good cash flow that you just kind of work for yourself. Now, with about a 3% appreciation every single year is just a baseline that we're guessing, your net equity at year 20 is going to be around $2.7 million. Debt-free, and you own it all, while also cash flowing. Now that is strategy 1. Let's talk about strategy 2. In this scenario, you don't stop at 3 properties. You keep going and get to 5 properties that you own. You carry the debt, and instead of paying down mortgages with every bit of cash flow, you reinvest back into them or reinvest back into your co-hosting business, which takes a little bit to get rocking and rolling with staff, marketing, and other things that you're going to have to learn. Now, let's be clear about what this means. You're not just picking up random co-hosting clients and just hoping that they're going to do okay. You're building a business. You only take on very profitable houses. You don't want a house that makes $20,000 a year that you're managing, because it's going to take almost as much work as a property that makes $70,000 plus per year. And with that comes extra payroll, extra expenses, extra softwares, all the things that come with building a business. That's why your expense ratio goes from about 30% when you're just doing the 3 by yourself to about 50% when you're trying to build an actual company. Now, I mentioned it earlier that with 5 properties and you building out an actual company with assistants and things on there, and you're trying to think like a CEO, your expense ratio is going to be much higher, and you're probably only going to clear about $1,000 a month cash flow pure after all expenses and mortgages and everything are paid from all 5 properties. Doesn't sound like a lot, correct? But that's the whole point of this strategy. You're not supposed to be living off that cash flow alone. The co-hosting business is where a lot of your income is actually going to come from. Here's how it works. Even if you only find 5 additional properties that you co-host, say they're making $70,000 per year gross revenue. Obviously, the better it goes, the better it is for everybody. You take a 20% management fee from that revenue that comes in, and that's about $14,000 per year on each property. So those 5 clients combined make you around $70,000 in almost pure cash flow. because you already have your team built in, you already have a lot of these systems in place and a whole bunch of other things, you'll end up around that number, give or take a little bit depending on how loose your operations are and your expenses. But let's just guesstimate that you're making $14,000 per property. But none of the risk is really yours though. A lot of it goes on the owner. CapEx, not really your issue. Mortgages, not really your issue. Property taxes, not your issue. That can become very high margin for you from income streams the more you scale. And you also have the ability to get even more co-hosting clients than just 5, which truly makes this strategy grow tremendously. But there's a lot more work involved, and you need to be prepared to be building a business. 2 totally different lifestyles here. The one with the co-hosting has a much higher ceiling, but when you're building a business, you're definitely going to earn that ceiling by putting in the hours. So let's add it up all after year 20 though. You have 5 owned properties that make around $11,000 a year after mortgages and cash flow, just pure cash flow there. And you have 5 co-hosting properties that you're making around $70,000 in net income from those as well. You're looking at around $81,000 a year in income from this. You have a remaining mortgage debt, probably around $1.24 million on the 5 properties you own after 20 years. But your net equity is probably closer to $3.3 million with all of those properties at a 3% appreciation ratio, just like we did in the first example. Now let's look at those side by side as well. So your annual income at year 20 for strategy 1, you have 3, you're making $147,000 a year and you have no debt. Strategy 2, you have 5 properties you own, you're making around $81,000 a year. You co-host 5 more properties and you probably have around $1.4 million in debt. Strategy 1 generates almost $65,000 more per year, and you have quite a bit less stress than the ability to manage more people. You only have a few properties to worry about. But you are responsible for CapEx, insurance, taxes, everything for those properties as well. And you're at the mercy of anybody that is dealing with those type of numbers for you. Now, strategy 2 has a much higher equity. You have probably about $550,000 to $600,000 in equity there, more than strategy 1. And I'm not going to sugarcoat that. That is great. But again, you're going to have to build out a business with this. It's going to be more work, going to be more stress. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But I also just capped it at 5 houses and 5 co-owned properties. Again, once you build out that business, you could hit 50 co-hosted properties. I don't think I said co-owned, I meant co-hosted. 50 co-hosted properties, keep growing your team. That obviously is when the real money starts to come in and you're $500,000 in income, possibly from having tons of properties. Takes a lot of work to get there. You're gonna have to talk to a lot of owners, but each year you'll get better because word of mouth spreads like wildfire when you actually co-host properties well. So that's the trade-off that you sit with just there. The ceiling gets much higher when you add more co-hosting properties, but you're going to be about $50,000 or $60,000 less in income if you just look at these baseline scenarios like how I'm explaining them. And you'll still have quite a bit of debt on your side too for the mortgages that you completely own and haven't paid off like in strategy 1. For most people, strategy 2 is not the better outcome. Like, I'll just be completely honest. If you're watching this channel and you're a fan of Bigger Pockets, my guess, and let me know in the comments if I'm right or wrong here, is that you would probably like the low and slow route of 3 properties, much higher income, not as high of a ceiling potentially, but quite a bit less stress, less debt, a lot less risk on this side. If you're a true go-getter like myself and quite a few other people I've interviewed on this podcast or YouTube show, whatever you want to call it, you might want to grow the business and have that ceiling that is just astronomically higher. That's what I wanted to do. I kind of look at short-term rentals as a gateway drug, either into buying more real estate or buying businesses, or obviously doing a little bit of both if you like this path, because that's just what I genuinely enjoyed to do and what I wanted to take my path on. There's 2 very clear, distinct paths here. Neither one of them is wrong at all. A lot more risk and reward on strategy 2. Strategy 1 is definitely more low and slow and kind of just making it happen steady with real estate, but you're the only person that can decide what you want to do. You might go the low and slow path and then go, actually, I want more, and go to strategy 2, or you might start down strategy 2 and go, absolutely not. I'm trying to go back to the low and slow path, sell off 1 or 2 properties, pay off 1, stop co-hosting. Like, it's totally you. That's the cool thing about real estate. It is pick your own flavor a lot of the times. You get to decide what works for you, and there's no bad strategy in real estate. There's just bad execution, in my opinion. Maybe a bad strategy. Don't call me on the comments and like, what about this strategy? Like, bad execution definitely ruins a lot of strategies. So with that in mind, if you made it this far, one of the last things I want to leave you with is just the door count trap that is in real estate. People, I call it door disease. People just want to say, I have so many doors I manage. And I used to, I still fall in this and used to fall in it even more, like, oh, I have 25 short-term rentals I own and manage. And it sounds so cool. But the more I've added, the more I've actually like taken away some properties because they just don't fit the need and they stress me out more than they bring me joy. Door disease is a real thing. I don't care about how many doors you have. I know people that have 100 doors that make $1,000 a month. I know people that have 1 or 2 doors that make 10, 15, 20,000 a month because they bought one mega property or something. Like, doors don't count. That's all I'm going to end this video with. The strategy is all that matters, and you're the only one that can decide if that is what works for you. But I'm happy to have you here and help you walk through all of these strategies the best I can. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and if you made it this far, please hit that subscribe button. It really means the world to me. And I think YouTube wants you to watch one of these videos popping up here, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.